Right, Shana Tova, everyone. Welcome. So nice to see everyone for our Yom Kippur children's service, and I know you were doing some arts and crafts projects before. So we're going to do a few of the prayers in our prayer book here in what we call on Yom Kippur a machzor, and then we're going to have some story time that we'll split up for, and so forth. So if you open your book to page 3, prayer book. Yom Kippur is a day which allows us to make peace with God for the things which we have done which miss the mark. Yom Kippur does not automatically make peace for us with other people. We ourselves must ask forgiveness for all the people whom we have hurt by missing the mark. Together, Master of the universe, today I forgive everyone who has hurt me and everyone who has done me wrong. I forgive them whether they did it on purpose or by accident. I forgive them whether they hurt me by what they said, whether they hurt me by what they did. Today I forgive them. Just as I forgave everyone who did me wrong, I ask all those whom I have hurt to forgive me. I am sorry for those things which I did on purpose, and I am sorry for those things which I did by accident. I ask to be forgiven for the things I said which hurt others, and for the things I did which hurt others. Lord, please wash away the things I have done which miss the mark. Help me to make sure that I can never repeat any of these wrongs again. So on page 7, there's a beautiful song that the Cantor always sings for us on Yom Kippur evening, and I just didn't want you guys to miss just a little bit of it. It's called Kol Nidre. And so Cantor Smilowitz is going to share with us a few of its words.
Kol nidre v'sarei v'charamei v'konamei v'chinuyei v'kinusei u'shavuot.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. So it makes a part of that song is it makes us look inside, we hope, and think about the things that we should do differently. Here's the basic thing about Yom Kippur. No one is perfect. No one. Not even our grandparents. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. And so Yom Kippur is our chance to say, oops, I kind of made a mistake, and I don't want to do that again. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry. And so now we turn to page 11. We read, we stand when we say the Baruch Hu. We bow our heads and bend our knees a little bit as we say its words. It's just what people do when a king or queen enters a room. The Baruch Hu is known as the call to worship. It marks the place in the service where our warm-up prayers have been finished and the real praying begins. We stand for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed.
You may be seated. We read in the middle of page 12. Together, the sun rose today. It will set this evening. Tomorrow the sun will rise again. The world goes on day then night, day then night. Winter changes into spring. Spring becomes summer. Summer turns into fall. Then winter happens again. A year happens every single year. Every day I get up and start again. Life comes in circles. I can learn from yesterday and change in time for tomorrow. The world goes on, day then night, day then night. We join together in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai עם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
If you turn now to page 14, there's a beautiful song and prayer that's part of every service when we get together. It's called the Michamocha, and it's what we believe. Remember the story from Passover when the Jews went free from Egypt and they were being chased by the Egyptians and they got to the other side of the sea? Well, they sang this song. And so just as they were super happy and relieved that they were going to safety, we sing this every Friday night in every Shabbat service and on Yom Kippur to remind us of their happiness and how we can be happy. And if I can tell you a secret, it's my favorite prayer because it's very like upbeat. You get to clap, right? Do I get to clap on this one? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I like clapping and moving. So Micha Mocha, page 14.
Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar v'kodesh, Nora tehilot Osei fele, Nora tehilot Osei fele, Shira chadesha, Shichu geulim, Leshimcha, Al sefat hayam, Yachakulam, Hodu vehimlichu, V'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
Does that make you want to just dance, right? Just like the Israelites did. Okay, I like dancing. So now we turn in our prayer books to page 19. One of the things we always do in our prayers is we remind ourselves that we're related to some great people who lived a long, long time ago. Their names are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. They are the first Jews, and we remind ourselves, like, don't forget, I'm related to them. And so when we stand before God and we ask God for things, help me be better, help me not make so many mistakes, we kind of start off by saying, don't forget, I'm part of their family, and they did some really amazing things for us, so I hope you'll help me just like you helped them. And so we stand for this prayer, page 19.
Zochreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim. Zochreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim.
Together in the middle of the page we read, our God and God of our parents, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebecca, and God of Leah and Rachel. Remember us for a good life. You are our ruler who loves life. Write us in the book of life. You are our God, the God of life. You may be seated. As I said on Yom Kippur, one of the things we do is we always kind of remind ourselves that, oops, I made some mistakes. And so the prayer that we do where we kind of list all of these mistakes we might have made is called the Al Chet. It's on page 21. And we're going to read together these mistakes because the other thing we do when we kind of remember our mistakes is we always say we. Never just I made a mistake. Because the idea is we all made mistakes, and also it's a good thing to it helps us when we all say, well, we made a mistake. You don't want to just have to stand up there and say, I made a mistake. And it helps us, most importantly, do better. Because if we're saying this together and remembering together, we all give each other strength to try to do better. So together on page 21, we have missed the mark on purpose. We have missed the mark by not caring. We have missed the mark by accident. We have missed the mark by using words carelessly. We have missed the mark by being sneaky. We have missed the mark by using words to hurt. We have missed the mark by hurting others. We have missed the mark by lying. We have missed the mark by not respecting parents and teachers. We have missed the mark by not stopping ourselves from doing something we really wanted, even when we knew that it was wrong. Ooh, that last one's hard. Va'al kulam.
Ve'al kulam Eloah selichot Slach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
Now, before we turn, as we did on Rosh Hashanah, we're going to split up into third grade and under third grade and over third grade for our story. But we're going to sing together, because we always kind of leave, this is one of our last words, the words of Sim Shalom. It's one of our prayers for peace, because shalom, peace, is really important. Getting along with people, family, brothers, sisters, shalom is the most important. Sim Shalom, page 23.
Sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed rachamim v'rachamim aleinu me'al kol Yisrael me'al kol Yisrael amecha Baruch atah Adonai oseh shalom.
So now, as I said, we're going to split up as we did on Rosh Hashanah. And so if you are third grade or older, you should stay in the sanctuary with a parent. And if you are under third grade with a parent or a grandparent, you should go with the Cantor and Ms. Armus to the social hall, and we're going to do a little bit of story time. So you should know which grade you're in, right? If not, ask your parents. So move to the right, okay? See you in a bit. And then, all right, guys. Go ahead with the Cantor. Wow. All right. Can you guys move into the front? Can you guys come into the front? So it's not like the sanctuary is filled, so that way I can just look at everybody, right? Thank you. Awesome. All right, we're just going to wait till our below third grade moves to their destination. It's destination story time, as they say. I don't know if the social hall is the destination. Okay. All right, I got a great story for you guys, and since you're our older students, we'll have a chance to kind of unpack this story and talk about it too. This is a great story, and it's one of my favorites, and this is just one version of this story and how it's told. So, you ready? I know, you're hanging on every word. Okay, here we go. In a small town somewhere in Eastern Europe lived a nice man, but with a nasty problem. He talked too much about other people. He could not help himself. Whenever he heard a story about somebody he knew, and sometimes about someone he did not know, he just had to tell all of his friends. And since he was in business, he heard quite a lot of rumors and a lot of stories. He loved the attention he got and was delighted when they laughed because of the way he told his anecdotes, his stories, which he sometimes, to be honest, embellished with little details he invented to make them even funnier and even juicier. Other than that, he was a really, really pleasant and good-hearted man. He kind of knew that it was wrong, but it was so tempting. And in any case, most of what he told had really happened, didn't it? Many of his stories were just innocent and entertaining, aren't they? One day he found out something really weird, but true, about another businessman in town. Of course, he felt compelled to share what he knew with his colleagues, who told it to their friends, who told it to people they knew, who told it to their families, who spoke with their friends and their neighbors, and it went around town till the unhappy businessman, who was the main character of the story, heard it, and he ran to the rabbi of his town and wailed and complained that he was ruined. Nobody would like to deal with him after this. His good name and his reputation were gone with the wind. Now the rabbi knew his customers, so to speak, and he decided to summon the man who loved to tell stories. If he was not the one who started this story, he might at least know who did. When the nice man with this nasty problem heard from the rabbi how devastated his colleague was, he felt truly sorry. He honestly had not considered it such a big deal to tell this story because it was true. The rabbi could check it out if he wanted. The rabbi sighed. True, not true. That really makes no difference. You just cannot tell stories about other people. This is what we call lashon hara, slander, and it's almost like murder. You kill a person's reputation. He said a lot more, and the man who started the rumor now felt really bad and really sorry. What can I do to make it undone? He started crying. I will do anything you say, Rabbi. The rabbi looked at him, and he said, do you have any feather pillows in your house? Rabbi, I am not poor. I have a whole bunch of them. But what do you want me to do? He said. Sell them? No, just bring me one of those pillows. The man was mystified. But he returned a bit later to the rabbi's study with a nice, beautiful, fluffy pillow under his arm. The rabbi opened the window and handed him a knife and said, cut open the pillow. But Rabbi, here in your study, it will make a mess. Do as I say, the rabbi said. And the man cut the pillow, and a cloud of feathers came out. And they landed on the chairs and on the bookcase, on the clock, even on the cat, which jumped out after them. They floated over the table and onto the teacups and on the rabbi and on the man with the knife. And a lot of them then flew out the window in a big, swirling, winding trail. The rabbi waited for 10 minutes, and then he ordered the man, now go bring me back all those feathers and stuff them back into your pillow. All of them, mind you. Not one of them can be missing. The man stared at the rabbi in disbelief. That's impossible, Rabbi. The ones here in this room, I might get most of them, but the ones that flew out of the window, they're gone forever. Rabbi, I can't do that. You know it. Yes, said the rabbi, and nodded gravely. That is how it is. Once a rumor, a gossipy story, a secret leaves your mouth, you do not know where it ends up. It flies on the wings of the wind, and you can never get it back. He ordered the man to deeply apologize to the person about whom he had spread the rumor, and that is difficult and painful, but it was the least he could do. He ordered him to apologize to the people to whom he had told the story, making them all accomplices in his nasty lashon hara game. And he ordered them to diligently study all of the laws concerning gossip every day for a year and then come back to him. And that is exactly what the man did. Not only did he study all of the laws about gossip, he talked about the importance of guarding your tongue to all of his friends and all of his colleagues. In the end, he became a nice man who overcame a nasty problem. Thank you, Max. So, What do you guys think of the story? What do you think about those feathers? Okay, here's how we're going to do. Has anyone ever told a story about someone else? Has anyone ever told a story about someone else that later you said, ooh, I feel really bad. They're so upset with me. Has anyone ever tried to fix that story that you told about someone who then felt bad? Okay. How hard was that to do? Does anyone want to share? Go ahead. Okay, it's very hard to admit that you did it wrong, that you hurt someone's feelings, right? That's a hard part. What about fixing the story that's kind of out there, that flew out the window, to use the story? Can you ever get it back completely? Did you want to say something? No? No? Anybody else want to share? How hard, why was it hard to kind of fix that storytelling? Go ahead. Oh, so like you're saying it's hard because they might have done something bad to you too? Okay. What else? Anyone else? Yeah, Ms. Armus, thank you for sharing and participating.
I feel like sometimes I might, well, I would say yes, but I feel like I'm just telling it to a friend of mine, and I don't mean it to get out, and I'll say, don't say anything, and then she'll say something, and then it just gets out of hand.
Right. So I think that's the problem with stories and storytelling. Sometimes you might just tell it to one friend, something that happened to someone else that was pretty funny when it happened. And then it kind of, you hear it back, and it's almost like it's a different story by the time it comes back to you. So that's the other problem with telling stories about other people. Once it kind of gets out there, it kind of gets a life of its own. And it kind of grows bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's why actually Judaism says the safest thing to do is to not tell stories about other people. Because when you start talking about other people, you never know how it could hurt them. You never know how much pain it might cause them. And the point of this story is once that story's out there, you kind of lose control of it. Right? Once you've put it out there and you've told it, and you've repeated it, it's almost like it's not yours, and it's floating out there, and it can really hurt someone. So the whole idea of this holiday is we're trying to think about how we can do better so we don't hurt other people. So one of the things we can do, and I raised my hand, remember, one of the things we can all do is to try to not tell stories about other people. And here's the really hard part. Remember the other thing about the story? Even when they're true stories. We're not talking about making up a story. We're talking about something that actually happened. You don't know how it might feel to the person who it's about. And we're just trying to do better and trying to fix it. So thanks. I really appreciate your participation. Our younger students are going to run into the sanctuary now. We're going to finish the service with a few more prayers. Any questions or thoughts while we're waiting for our under third grade? We still haven't worked out the timing perfectly between the two stories. Yeah.
The important thing that you said is true or not true. Don't tell the story.
According to Jewish law, you are not supposed to repeat something about someone else, even if it's true. Because, I'll give you an example. So, here's an example. You heard, I'm going to use it sort of for our own framework. You heard a friend did really well on a test. They got 100. It's even positive and true, right? And so you're telling about that other person's score on that test to other people. You don't know how that might affect the people who are hearing it. Right? In other words, someone might have done poorly, just as an example. So the idea about telling stories about other people, we can't be sure of how it affects the people who are listening or the person who they're being told about. Maybe that's something that also the person doesn't want shared too, even if it's positive or true. Yeah, Max.
So, I have a scenario. So let's just say, like, I'm company, and then
You're a what?
I'm company, and the guy, wait, so there's a product.
Oh, okay. You're a company. That's what you're saying?
No, wait, screw it, wait. So, I'm someone who wants, I'm interested in buying a product.
Okay.
That product is bought, and I see someone buy it, and it was for someone else. I can't say that. This is something that, it's just like, oh, this person bought something that I wanted, and I can't say anything about it.
Yeah, so look, here, the first thing is this. No one is perfect about this. It's kind of an impossible, line. But Judaism wants us to be very cautious about talking about other people. So it's kind of like, unless you really have to talk about another person, you shouldn't. Because you just don't know how it can hurt them or hurt others. That's the basic idea. There are exceptions, obviously, but if you try to follow that rule, it's a super easy rule. If you know this person was embarrassed by what happened, right? You know they were embarrassed and upset, repeating that story is probably, for sure, not a good idea. That's a pretty easy line. How was story time, Cantor?
Great word, a very important word to say
What?
on Yom Kippur.
What's that?
Does anybody remember the word that we learned to
Come to
say
the
on
microphone,
Yom Kippur?
microphone.
What word is a very important word that we say on Yom Kippur that we learn from the story? Who can raise their hand?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's
Good.
very
She
good.
listened so well. That's right.
Beautiful. We are going to conclude with 2 songs before we send you on your way. There's a beautiful song on page 23 in prayer, Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu, Ki ein manu masim. Hasei imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Hasei imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'oshienu.
And as I said, one of our most important prayers is about peace and about making peace between us. Everything should be shalom. So we're going to sing together, Oseh Shalom, and then we'll say shalom to each other.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu me'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu me'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu me'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu me'al kol Yisrael.
Shana Tova, Happy New Year.